takes a great deal of courage to stand up to your enemies, but a great deal more to stand up to your friends.
If I murdered someone, she's the person I'd call to help me drag the corpse across the living room floor. She's my person.
I stepped up. She's my friend, and she needed help. If I had to, I'd pee on any one of you. Welcome to the Best Friends Playbook podcast.
With your hosts, Crystal and
Alicia. We've known each other for over 27 years, and we're here to share our wisdom on friendships in film, TV, and literature.
So grab some coffee, our favorite, and get cozy.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Best Friends Playbook podcast. I've decided we're doing a radio show from the 1940s.
You're very brave. I'm not doing it.
No, it's fine. I think I've just had a lot of coffee.
Oh.
Are
we doing the intro, by the way?
I mean, the intro's already been recorded. This is just us saying hello to our friendly audience now.
Hey, it's Crystal.
And Allie. Yes, I've had lots of coffee today, but that's how we do this show.
Mm-hmm.
How much coffee have you had today?
3 very large mugs.
You are beating me. I've only had like 2 cups, which probably equal to like 1 large cup.
Wait, me? Was that a question?
No, that's what I had. That's what I had.
I don't know. I had a lot.
Yeah, so we're very coffeeed up for this episode, which is funny because we've now left the land of Gilmore Girls, which is so fast talking with lots of caffeine.
I'm going to miss Gilmore Girls.
I know. It's okay. We can still watch it for fun.
I know.
So today we're going to do Bridesmaids, and we're going to kind of dig into what happens when you become your best friend's maid of honor and what stress does that cause.
Ugh, weddings are so stressful, guys.
But also, what is it like from like the bride's point of view too?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that yet, but you know.
I do know that. We could talk all about it.
Right. And then before we get into that really quick, we have a shout out for another podcast between Lewis and Lovecraft, which is hosted by Hannah and I've been talking to him for a while. I believe his name is also Lewis. It's in his name of the podcast. And of course, I can't remember. But anyways, they are really cool people. And I've been listening to their podcast and they've been listening to ours. And basically, I really like their podcast because I was telling Crystal, if you've been to the website, goodreads.com, basically, people there, they talk about what books they've read and if they're good or not, and they write reviews. Mm-hmm. But essentially, I just always feel like it's the same thing as reading the back of a book cover and I have no idea what's going on. So I think I hit a dog toy underneath the cat.
Oh, okay. I thought someone was
it was
breaking into my backyard. It was what the fuck?
It was the white dinosaur one.
Oh, okay.
So on their podcast, they basically talk about an author, and then they break down all the books that this author has written and the author's life, which I feel like gives a really good idea then as to whether or not you would want to read.
That's really cool because I don't usually pick my reads based on authors. I pick my reads based on like the story itself. So I kind of like that. I'm gonna have to start like paying attention and doing that kind of stuff, basing it off the author.
The host that I've been talking to, his name is Tyler. Sorry, Tyler. I get it though. You're on the mic and you get really nervous because they accidentally said our name wrong. So it's okay. I still messed up somehow. But yeah, so you guys should definitely check out their podcast. They're really nice people and they're super funny. And now I want to read books by Neil Gaiman, who I didn't know who that was before.
I know, right?
Yeah. Let's dig into this episode. Hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah, we're sitting in front of a fire right now and it's like so cozy and cute and it's all cloudy outside. So I'm ready for the holidays.
I know, right? It's like, it's really wonderful. That's why we record at your place.
I know.
Okay, so we have Annie and Lillian.
Right. So Bridesmaids was like written by Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo. I don't know how you say her name.
Let's see. We'll make sure that we get it right. Bridesmaids.
I know that that's her name.
Annie,
I just don't know how to say it.
Mumolo.
But more importantly, Kristen Wiig stars in it as Annie. Maya Rudolph plays Lillian, the bride. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know that one chick's name. Who plays Helen?
Rose Byrne.
Rose Byrne, that's right.
She's hilarious. I love her.
She is awesome. So Kristen Wiig wrote it. Paul Feig directed it. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's really good about making comedies for women. I like him.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Bridesmaids.
Yeah. So I wanted us to do this because I feel like everyone goes through this. Crystal and I had like some tricky things that went down with her, me being her maid of honor. just because I was like, Kristen, like, help me, I'm poor.
Well, and I mean, we're both, I don't know about you, but especially me, the last 5 years, all of my friends have been getting married. So it's like, you know, when you hit that time in your life where it's just like everybody and their mother is getting married, and then soon it's going to be all baby showers and blah, blah. And so like, I feel like I've experienced it so much in the last 5 years, and being in other people's weddings and stuff, you know, it's just.
Yeah, it definitely adds up.
You've been in a couple weddings too.
I've been in a couple.
I've been in 2, I think. And then I had my own. So
yeah, I've been in 1, yours, so 2. I think I've been in 4.
Yeah,
and no more. I don't care how much you love me.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really enjoy being in weddings. It's a great honor, and I'm more than happy to do it. But it's not my jam. I don't like being in front of people and all that stuff, and it's just the drama that sometimes comes with being in a wedding party is just so much more stressful than just doing the damn thing, you know?
Yeah, luckily, the last 2 I was in were like ended up being super chill, so that helped. But yeah, there's still always drama because girls are not drama, but we have also been taught to be competitive. So until like you get that out of your system, then there is drama. Guys create drama in their own way, but since we are girls, we know what our drama is, and it's
yeah. So just because you're talking about girls and drama, I made my husband watch Bridesmaids with me last night, and then we immediately followed up with Mean Girls because he had never seen either movie. And I was explaining to him that like being a girl is exactly these 2 movies. Like you're just set up to hate each other and constantly compete with other girls. And I was always one that was very conscientious of that, and I really liked girls, but I just never got along with them. So I kind of always tried to have just guy friends if I could, except you're the only one that was like a really good girlfriend. But like all of that drama was totally accurate. Like I can't explain to you how many times I have met girls that just fucking hate on each other, and I hate it so much. So
yeah, totally. And it's funny too because Tina Fey based Mean Girls off the book The Lost Boys, which is why I got to watch it in my honors English class in 10th grade.
Nice.
Way to go to that.
I never
teacher.
got to see that.
Yeah, since we were reading Lord of the Flies, she's like, this is based off that, so we're gonna watch
Lord
it.
of the Flies. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were supposed to just watch that one.
I did read that.
Yeah, so we were just supposed to watch that one scene where they act like animals, and then she's like, nah, we can go ahead and watch the whole movie.
But I saw the movie.
Yeah, anyways. It's they're both very accurate descriptions, and it's unfortunate. That's why I think being a vulnerable human is important, and to talk about your feelings in a non-attacking way, which we'll get into with what Annie and Lillian go through.
Right.
So everything's fine and dandy for these 2. You know, Lillian gets engaged, but Annie looks a little like she's not jealous. She's just bummed out that she's like solo still.
Yeah, well, Annie, you have to realize like when they set up this movie, Annie is basically failing at all parts of her life at that point. Like she lost her business, ran out of all of her money, you know, she can't pay her bills. She's like having sex with this loser guy, John Hamm.
Yeah, and her boyfriend left her because the business went under, which is messed up.
Right. So she's sleeping with this like shitty guy that literally treats her like crap. Plus, Annie is living with like 2 idiots that like read her diary and try on her clothes, they admit, and all kinds of shitty stuff like that.
You have to leave a note if you're going to make those demands.
I know.
What?
Right? What? And when Rebel Wilson comes in, you have a package. I'd bring it to you, but you said I can't touch your stuff.
So passive aggressive.
But yeah, so her life is like falling to shit, and you know her friend is like her life's coming together. I guess I don't think she's jealous though. I think she's just
I think she's
reflecting on herself.
Yeah, because like you know, I don't know how old they are in the movie, but I'm sure they're like close to like 30, 32, because that's you know typically when people like quote unquote get married,
figure their shit out.
Yeah, so I think it just makes Annie feel like more crappy about herself, which is not her fault. Her business fell apart.
No, it's not. And you know, I feel like with those kind of you know, life failures, it's more about how you treat it afterwards.
You know, Annie has said yes to Lillian being her maid of honor, and then she goes and meets all the other bridesmaids, and that's where we meet Helen, who later on Helen admits that she did everything on purpose.
Yeah. You can see when they have that first engagement party for them for Lil and whatever her husband's name is. I think it's Doug.
Yes.
It's at like a country club or something, and you can tell, like, Annie, when she first comes in, super overwhelmed and feels totally inadequate as far as how fancy the place is, and it's just all of the really well-dressed people there and whatnot. And of course, Helen's wearing, like, a fucking ball gown.
Well, I know. That looks, like, super expensive. And
yeah.
And, like, your stuff wasn't like that extravagant, but I will say that like with some of the people in your life, economically, I can feel the difference in me and them. So I felt like a similar thing that Annie felt, like walking into the room and it's like, oh God.
Yeah. And in the weddings I've been in, I haven't necessarily felt quite the divide financially sometimes, but like not significantly, but more like when you meet all of those all the other people that are going to be in the wedding.
Yeah.
You know, girls automatically like size each other up,
Oh
and
my
like
God, yeah.
for me, I'm especially a first impressions kind of person, so I kind of, based on like my first impression of somebody, I can like either immediately hate them or like them. So so you can see her doing that when she meets all the other bridesmaids, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, I 100% get that. Like it's hard not to like size people up the first time you meet them. Everyone's like, "Oh, don't judge like a book by its cover." But we're humans and it's going to happen. Like the important thing is to then like maybe later on like, "Oh, you're not what I thought you were now that I've gotten to know you," sort of a thing. But
Yes.
when it's like an event for your best friend, it can be like very overwhelming and scary, and you know, it's that whole like want to dress to impress sort of a thing.
Yeah. I definitely learned the hard way that like what you take as a first impression is totally, I mean, it can be very accurate sometimes, but it can also be very inaccurate for me. Like my other best friend, I thought she was like an angry lesbian when I first met her, and she was like totally opposite, and now she's one of my best friends, but she really scared the shit out of me in the beginning when I first met her. So yeah, I don't know. But and there's other first impressions where I don't even remember like how I met somebody, and other people will remember me, and they're always like, you seemed like we were all really afraid of you, or you seemed really mean, because I have like severe resting bitch face, as they say. So
Yes,
and I'm introverted, so
all my friends thought you were a bitch, and I'm like, no, she's just really quiet and really shy.
Yeah.
But once you meet her, like the one thing I love about you is like how chill you are.
Oh,
Sometimes to the point where I'm like, Crystal doesn't give a fuck about anything.
Well, it's better to be chill than to be like high strung and crazy. So, you know. Whatever.
Exactly, which balances us out because I'm like anxiety up the wall woman. So it's wonderful. At the engagement party, when Annie goes up to give her speech and then her and Helen start competing, that scene really makes me think about how there was someone else in Crystal's bridal party that is one of Crystal's best friends, and her and I have had numerous discussions now, but like I don't know how many times I like would be to Crystal, I'm like, but I'm like your best friend still, right?
Yeah, but the difference was that mine wasn't like in this, like Helen is clearly trying to like steal the Maid of Honor duties and spotlight, and is definitely like actively being a bitch, whereas I feel like mine was not. It was just more of a what do you call it? Rivalry almost, you know, like who's really the best friend here kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was just me feeling like super insecure because like this is someone you get to see way more than me, and then also like I know this person can like afford to do a lot of this stuff that like you wanted for your wedding. So then I felt like I was lower in like bonus points.
You felt inadequate.
I felt inadequate because I couldn't like rise up to provide what you needed. And like I have no knowledge of like weddings, and
neither do I.
Yeah, but your friend did, and so I was like, oh god, she's like way better at this whole arena. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know anything about weddings either. Mine was like the second in our group of friend weddings, and thank God, because I had no idea what was like in store. So
yeah, so I feel bad. I feel like that's the moment where everything kind of starts like slowly building pressure for Annie, and then
can I say something about her speech though?
Yes,
the speeches. I've watched this movie like 3 times in the last week. Kristen or Annie's like original speech kind of was like lame. It was like very generic. I understand when you like feel uncomfortable giving speeches or going up there, because that's me, absolutely. But it didn't even feel like special, like, hey, this is my best friend and we've known each other our whole lives or whatever. It was just very much like, hey, congratulations, bride and groom. That's it. And then it was like, well, hello, of course Helen's going to step in. Like, that was not an exciting speech.
Yeah, and I think that's where like Annie's character is very selfish, because we learned that throughout the whole movie. Is that like when things aren't going her way, she kind of like clams up and shuts down. And like that night was for your best friend. Like give her the speech that you want to give her, that like you love her and you're happy for her and you guys have all these years together and you're excited you get to share this moment with her. And so, yeah, that was not one of Annie's finest moments.
No, it just got more and more awkward the more they like kept giving the mic to each other and like fighting over it. And then they sang that awkward song at the end. And and they like give her that look, like, do you know what I'm thinking about? And Maya Rudolph's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
But I do think it's funny that like not once did Maya Rudolph think it was weird that these girls were competing. She was just like in love with the stories they were telling.
Yeah.
She only thought it was weird when Annie was saying like random words in Spanish.
Yeah, that's funny.
The next problem that we run into is when they go out to eat right before they're doing the dress try-ons, which I don't really feel like was Annie's fault. Like you can go to any place and get food poisoning.
Oh, you know what though? After that party,
Yeah,
Lil is taking Annie out to the front, and Annie like straight up tells her like, what the fuck is with Helen? I don't like her, kind of thing, which I was really kind of surprised at. Like, good for her for kind of voicing her issues with it, but at the same time, I don't know, it kind of immediately caused conflicts. I don't know.
yeah, I think that she could have presented it in a different way. She could have been like, hey, I think that Helen it just kind of came in here out of nowhere. I didn't know like you guys were hanging out, and it sort of makes me feel jealous.
Yeah.
And it also kind of feels like she
Thinks she's maid of honor.
thinks she's maid of honor, and like she's really rich, and it makes me feel weird, and she kind of seems pretentious. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that like she could have been like, no, like, yeah, she's like that because her husband ignores her.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, Lillian says that she knows her really well, so she knows like the true Helen. So you think she would have noticed that she was being that way. But yeah, it's such a sticky situation. I mean, I think honesty is important, but at the same time, I might have just would have been like,
Bite your tongue.
Suck it up for like the 6 months you have to deal with this, and then you don't have to worry about it.
It's so hard when you're in a wedding party because it's like
You're stuck with them for a very long time.
Well, and do you really want to cause that kind of drama for the bride, right? You will kind of want to just shut your mouth and make sure that the bride has a great time. And, you know, it's all about them. It's not about your drama. It's not about your insecurities kind of thing. And she really doesn't do that from the beginning.
No, like as Lillian tells her at the bridal shower, like, why can't you just go home and talk shit behind my back like a normal person?
Yeah.
Like, which is technically what Annie should have done, like with everything that was annoying her and stressing her out. Like she should have been telling it to the super cute cop she was talking to.
Yeah, which she did. But but yeah, I've been in a few bridal parties, and I think mine was like that too, where if you do have issues, you try and hide it, or you try and let it go, talk to the other bridesmaids instead of talking to the bride and making it awkward and uncomfortable for the bride, since they already have so much stress, you know? So
yeah, unless it's like something super important that's gonna like, you know, is gonna fester and cause problems, but like get advice on how to talk about it first.
yeah.
Because again, like this is your friend's time and you want it to be special for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like a really long birthday. It's all about them.
Yeah.
Just get over it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So then they're trying to figure out what the bachelorette party. Oh, well, first they go and they get the food poisoning and they try on the dresses and the shitting everywhere.
Which was hilarious.
Amazing. Don't look at me.
That's a great example, because they're like arguing over the different dresses, and obviously Annie doesn't have money to buy the super expensive $800 dress that is on sale. And you know, but I don't know, I think good bridesmaids are aware of each other's financial issues, and even the bride. Like I feel like as a bride, I was very conscientious of trying to like not get a super expensive bridesmaid dress for my bridesmaids, you know? But Lillian just like doesn't seem to give a fuck, you know?
She's like, I have money. I don't understand the concept of a penny.
Yeah.
Well, and did you pick out the bridesmaids dresses on your own? Because I thought it was weird that like everyone was there to have an opinion when it should just be the bride making the decision.
Well, yeah. See, that I feel like that's a great example of someone that like has too much money and doesn't care, or just like isn't involved. I had already picked out my bridesmaid dresses, but I've been in other ones where they're like, hey, here's the color. You can get any type of bridesmaid dress you want, which I like too. And that's nice. That would have been nice for this one, but she wanted them to be very, you know, standard.
Yeah. But I still feel like that's still the bride being in control of the situation.
Yeah.
Versus you bring too many like chefs to the kitchen.
Well, yeah, she didn't say anything in that whole time. Like she didn't even say like, hey, that one's ugly, that one's cute. It was just like, okay, you guys can all try on one and, you know, argue it out together. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like you're the bride, you need to make it clear, like this is what I want for my wedding. And like usually you talk to your bridesmaids ahead of time about like their financial situations and try and find like a happy medium for everyone.
Yeah. I think spending $800 on a bridesmaid dress is ridiculous.
And it was really fugly, the one in the wedding that Helen wanted.
The one Annie wanted was really cute. I would have bought that one, no problem.
Right, and you can wear it twice. It's an important thing.
That's very important.
So then we move on to the bachelorette party, which Annie just completely, well, it wasn't her fault. It was partially Helen's fault too.
So she had like almost no money and she was trying to figure out something fun.
Feel
And
that girl.
I did like that she was trying to do something that was meaningful to Lillian. She's like, hey, let's go to her family's lake house. We grew up there, went there all the time. It would be fun. And I personally think that would be fun.
I think that would have been a great
bachelorette
time.
thing. But of course, here's a great example of like other bridesmaids kind of being selfish in this aspect, because if you notice, all of their like reasons for wanting to go is for themselves.
100%.
Not really for Lillian. It's all like the one that's married with kids. It's like, I need something to help me have sex with my husband. Like I need girl time. I need to go away. I want to wear my new tube top and blah, blah, blah. And,
do you want cocaine? My hairdresser can get his cocaine.
Yeah. It's all about like them and the fun they're going to have, and not really thinking about Lillian that much,
Yeah, exactly. Which I thought was really funny, that it was really about what did they want to do. And even Helen was still the same way, because she wanted to impress Lillian and to be the best like bridesmaid ever. That's why she was forcing Vegas also, because she's like, I can pay for it. We can be first class. And so again, it wasn't about Lillian at the end of the day.
No, it wasn't. Like, at least, I mean, I'm not bashing Vegas as a bachelorette. That was my bachelorette party location. But I did make that very clear that I wanted something along those lines, whereas I feel like Lillian didn't seem to have any say in it at all.
Yeah, no
and
direction.
It all seemed to be kind of selfish, except for, well, even Kristen Wiig in this example. It is kind of selfish what she's throwing out there. Like, part of it's childhood. Oh, it'll be cute. But the other part is the fact that she can't afford to do something else, So
yeah.
So
it's hard. It's so hard making like that fine balance, especially because like clearly Lillian is in a better financial state than her best friend, who's lost her business and works at a jewelry store, which is all based off commission. So she's like, what do I do? So she tried to do like a 50-50 effort. But I think like also a huge issue is that Lillian just expected her bridesmaids to kind of do everything for her.
Mm-hmm.
And like, as your maid of honor, I did appreciate that like you knew what you wanted. I was like, what do you want for your bridal shower? You're like, I want like a 1920s Great Gatsby theme, and I like French stuff. Okay, done. So then it was up to me to take this idea and expand on that and how to make it into like a party.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said Vegas, and I was like, okay. So then I got with the girls and we figured out like, what are we going to do for Vegas?
Yeah. And yes, I was very conscientious of what I wanted, but also like what was doable, making sure that it invited enough people so that it wouldn't be crazy expensive necessarily.
We had 3 people to a bed. We made it work.
Yeah.
I was fine with that.
Ours was the low budget version of
we were
this
like at the MGM though, so it was still a really nice hotel.
Yes, and we could drive there. We didn't have to fly there or anything like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. Lillian in this aspect is like very low key, like not a bridezilla, but at the same time, she maybe should have given a little more guidance to her bridesmaids.
It is like without guidance, there's always problems.
Yeah, especially when you get 5 women together that don't really know each other and have
Yeah.
such different opinions of what's fun and are at such different places in their lives, because like 3 of them are married.
Mhm.
2 of them are not. 1 has kids.
One is just happily married. She
Yeah.
like just got married, so everything's perfect and wonderful.
1 is like filthy, stinking rich. So
Yeah.
like it's just they're all so different.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, poor
So
Annie.
they're on the plane though.
Yeah, she gets alcohol and pills from Ellen to try and make her calm down, but it just ends up making them land the plane early.
Well, and she's like back in coach by herself, and everybody
Yeah.
else is in first class, which by the way is like I understand like she was proud and didn't want to like have somebody else pay for her ticket. But at the same time, if I was that bride, I would have been like, no, we are all going back into coach with her. I am not like separating my bridal party like that. So,
And that's why you're wonderful.
see, and I don't know, you should be, especially your maid of honor, right? Like that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, because I think that I would have been similar to Annie. Like if someone had bought my first class ticket, I think I would have taken it for you to make you happy, but I would have hated it the entire time and it would have really stressed me out and I would have felt like I owed them for my ticket.
Oh yeah, totally. I
Mhm.
would. I've been in a wedding situation where it was like I was forced to spend money on something that I was not really willing to spend money on and didn't have money for at the time. And it just sucked. I felt so like obligated and felt like shit because I had to do it and I didn't want to. And I just would hate to do that to somebody else. So I was pretty tried to not do that with my friends.
Yeah, and it's definitely hard because like knowing going into a wedding you have like a financial responsibility, but at the same time sometimes like when people are doing the weddings they don't realize what your financial situation may be, and so it's kind of like it's there's still responsibilities like on both ends. I think it's just keeping
Yeah.
open communication and like just trying to make it work somehow.
Yeah, and it might be your wedding, but it's not all about you, like you have to think about your wedding party and like, what you're putting them through, in my opinion. So
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I just love Annie on the plane. She's so funny. So then, yeah, she ends up getting the plane landed because who did she say was on the wing? Like a pilgrim?
She saw a colonial woman churning butter on the wing of the plane.
She was so high.
And has a full meltdown. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So then they have to take a Greyhound all the way back to Milwaukee, and then that's when
she gets no bachelorette party, right?
Yeah, and Lillian checks her and says, "You can't do this anymore."
Yeah, she's like, I think I'm just gonna give all the responsibility over to Helen. She's really good at it. Blah blah blah. And honestly, like, Annie doesn't really disagree. She just kind of bites her tongue and says, okay. I mean, she realizes she fucked up and she just kind of lets it happen.
But I think this is also an example where later on her new best friend Megan tells her, you got to fight for your life. You're not fighting. And I think that was one of those moments where even though Annie had terribly screwed up, I think she should have said like, hey, I know I screwed up and I'm letting my emotions get the best of me, but I'm feeling really insecure because I feel like Helen like keeps kind of showing me up and she might be doing it for you, but I'm just having trouble with this situation.
Yeah, she it's a great example of I do it all the time. Especially when we were younger, just biting my tongue and like letting it go and not talking it out. I've definitely learned that over the last couple of years just being married. So
like, yeah, and it's hard to like be vulnerable and open up about those things, but I think that it helps because you would be surprised at like what people's response is in return, especially if you're not like attacking them and you're just saying how you feel.
Yeah, and it brings you closer together, I feel like, as friends too.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Annie is now what did the cute cop call her?
Maid of Dishonor.
Maid of Dishonor. She's lost all of her responsibilities and duties. And then
how does she take it out on herself? She sleeps with the cute cop guy and then fucks it up the next morning.
I know. He was so perfect.
He's adorable, by the way.
Really
I'm like,
adorable.
I'll date you.
Right?
If all cops are like you, yeah, sure.
I'll make you feel better.
I know, he's so cute.
Yeah, so then she goes to the bridal shower, which was really cute because she made that really cute collage for Lillian of like their friendship.
The gift, yeah.
Which I thought was like super adorable. I don't even think I got you like any gifts for your wedding or anything.
I have no idea.
But honestly. I think we talked about it later, and I think you were like, it's fine. You spent all that money on all the other stuff. But I still felt like this weird obligation, like I had to get you a gift.
No, I'm a firm believer in like if you're in the bridal party and you are like putting all the money towards all of these parties and stuff, then I don't feel like you should have to get a gift personally. That's just me. But
that's a fair rule.
I think so.
Yeah, and he makes her this really cute, sweet collage, which I thought was really thoughtful. And then frickin' Helen gets her a ticket for them to go to Paris together. And I really like loved Annie in that moment going like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you fucking bitch. It's such like a show up. She could have done that like in private, but she had to do it in front of everyone.
Yeah, and not only that, like, let me just put this on our relationship, right? If you had a friend like that you suddenly have like a really rich friend, and we had been talking our whole lives about how you want to go to Paris, and maybe I was planning on taking you one day, right, when I had money or something, and then the stupid bitch walks in and like gives you the gift, and you like literally just told her about it like a month ago or whatever, that pissed me off too. Yeah. So
I think that was a good moment where Annie stood up for herself. But then she lost it.
Went rage mode and like destroyed the cookie and stabbed the Eiffel Tower and like throws grass in the hot chocolate.
And she wrestles with the big cookie on the floor. So her mom, who's not in AA but attends AA meetings, was right. This was Annie's bottom.
Oh yeah, it was so funny, but it's so fucked up at the same time. And then they like have this huge blowout like right out there after she destroys everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't even think the worst part was that she told her she couldn't attend the wedding. It was that she couldn't take a puppy home.
Yeah, that would really piss me off. I'd be like, I'm taking one anyways.
Yeah. It's okay. Megan stole 2. She can have that other one.
Dude, she stole like 9.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That would have been me. I would have been like, I already have 2 in my car. I'm going to take some more.
Yeah. So that was, I think that would definitely hurt though, like hearing your best friend tell you can no longer like attend the wedding. But Annie kind of like, she really blew it at that point.
Yeah, it was sad, but at the same time, like, hello, don't fuck up her day, you know?
Yeah. Like,
I would have said something on the side after the party, not like right then and there and have a full on meltdown. Because, yeah, you just like totally ruined her bridal shower.
Yeah, and she had, as we've already discussed, she had plenty of opportunities to have these conversations. Like, so we'll go back to the bachelorette party really quick. For Crystal's bachelorette, it was in Vegas, and then all the girls were talking about going to a club, and they wanted to get what was it called, like a lounge or
like a table. You know, when you get a table at a club with like not chairs, but like it's like it's a booth, and then you get like bottle service and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like for really fancy people.
Yeah, but and after being in Vegas, I now understand why you need to do it, because we went to a club the first night.
Clubs are stupid,
and people just like touch you, and I was yelling no at them, and they didn't care.
Not only that, but like I've been to Vegas countless times now, and every time I've ever gone into a club there, I've been severely disappointed because it is so packed. Like back to back, you can't even dance.
There's no room.
Can't get to the bar. Like, of course you need a table, because otherwise you're not going to have any personal space at all.
That's what it's called. It's called a booth. I just remember the word.
It was a table.
Whatever. I don't know, but you have to pay for like your roped off section. So anyways, I was in a group text with all of the girls that are in Crystal's bridal shower, or like people just that were, attending. And they all kept saying how they wanted to do a booth, and I kept trying to like derail it so hard, because I think it was going to be like 1,000 or like 1,200 to buy in for it, and there was like 8 of us, so it was going to like be still
a good chunk,
a good chunk per person, but like divided that way, it was still pretty fair if you weren't working part-time at a coffee bean at the time. So it's like I'd already like bought in a bunch of stuff for like the bridal shower, and then paid for like my portion of the hotel, and then just have spending money in Vegas, and then all of a sudden now like we're getting a fancy section at a bar, and I was like, oh dear God. So this is like one of the things I feel like helped, is that one of the girls in the bridal party, which is the girl that I've for a while was jealous of, that like Crystal was closer with, but now after I've had many conversations I was feeling silly, so I basically explained to her that like I don't have the money to do this, and I understand everyone wants to do it and Crystal wants it, and I don't want to like cause this thing, like I will pay you back, but like I don't have the coverage. And she was like totally understandable about it and like helped me out. But then luckily Crystal was super hungover from the night before and couldn't go anyway, so it worked out.
Yeah. Didn't get the booth anyways. Never made it to the club.
Yeah, but it definitely helped that like I had someone I could talk to that was in the party, and I didn't have to kind of put this weight on Crystal and make her stress out, because Crystal like knew about my financial situation, but I also didn't like want her to worry about it, because I still wanted her to have like a good time. And so your friend, who's like now one of my good friends, like it worked out that I was able to express this to her. And also like after the wedding, I had like a huge talk with her about like how I was feeling, and she's like, I totally understand. She's like, I have a best friend who's like long distance. Like obviously me and Crystal don't live that far, but like we still don't get to see each other all the time, and that's how her and her best friend are. And she's like, that's my Crystal. And she's like, but you're still each other's number one. And I wasn't trying to tell her like, you can't come in here and be her friend.
Yeah.
It just was like this like weighing like amount of anxiety that I needed to have like a conversation about. Otherwise I felt like I was going to explode.
Which is good that you had that conversation and didn't let it like blow up into something stupid in public. And also my friends is not Helen in the sense that she would never make you feel bad about not being able to afford it at the time, and wouldn't be like condescending about, oh, I can put you in first class, like
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, she would have been like very like hush hush about it. It would have been between us and stuff. So, but in the sense of like Helen could afford these things, it kind of related in that sense. And then there's also somebody else in your life that likes to attend occasionally, compete, and say things to prove that you guys are closer, which I just laugh about. So everyone will have someone like this in a bridal shower, because for some reason, like the bride is like the special person. We're all like vying for your attention, I feel like.
Probably. I've also been to some of my really close friends' weddings and have gotten to like be behind the scenes because I'm so close to them, but wasn't in the bridal party. And just like witnessing a bridal party from the side, like, I'm not gonna lie, like the ones I've seen, pretty fucking selfish girls in there.
We're
So
fucking crazy.
I'm just saying, choose your bridal party wisely because
yeah, it would be nice to see like a huge team effort where there's like no competition sort of a thing going on, and it's just about girls having fun.
yeah.
That's like the ultimate goal.
So like after they have their whole issue with the bridal shower, the whole meltdown, right? And she gets
You can't be in
uninvited.
my wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After all that, she makes those bad choices, right? About the cop. Well, it's not a bad choice. She has sex with him, but then she treats him like shit afterwards and stops talking to him.
Kind of happens in a period of 24 hours.
Yeah, and she calls Helen to talk about it. Helen? No, she calls Lillian to talk about it, right? Because she fucked up, and she doesn't answer, and she never calls her back, which just like sucks because real friends should be there for you. I understand she fucked up, but still,
Yeah.
And it just kind of makes it really sucky when they finally like have her wedding day and she's having her meltdown, Helen can't find her.
Yeah.
She's like gone back to her old apartment.
Yeah, she's all sad.
And just to like get Annie to come help her find her.
Oh yeah, which just kind of proves like more to Annie that she was, and I get it, like overreacting that this person could take your place in your best friend's life that you've known your whole life. Like she didn't even know how to find her.
Yeah. To be fair, Annie didn't either. She had to use the cop. But
I think that was like an excuse to see him.
Maybe. You would think that they would check her apartment. But
yeah, that's like the first. Well, I guess Helen did say she checked, but it's Helen. You should double check what she did.
Yeah.
But so when they finally find Lillian's basically expressing that like she's just scared and she's sad. She's going to be like leaving her apartment and everything's
and living with
change.
a boy. That part is scary. I remember moving in with Jason, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, they're definitely.
I like my alone time. So
there were definitely a lot of learning curves when I moved in with David, and girls are just cleaner.
That is true.
Yeah,
very true.
So yeah, it was a bummer that because I feel like because Lillian was so mad at Annie, she didn't want to like prove Annie right that Helen was like ruining everything, because once Annie left, Helen like started controlling everything to a point that Lillian said later on she hated it and it didn't feel like her wedding.
Yeah.
But that was also like showing throughout the whole movie that Lillian also didn't know how to speak up for herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the only person she could be real with was Annie, and Annie could be real with her. Kind of so much to the point that they would blow up and say mean things to each other. But I think that's better than holding it all in.
Yeah, and when I look at Helen, right, she's like come into this, she's a middle class working girl just like Annie is, right? And then she comes up into this like upper class, upper echelon kind of thing where she's up there and she has Helen, who is like filthy stinking rich, and she's like changing her wedding to make it like so much more over the top than she probably could have ever imagined, because she's never had this kind of money before, right? And she says that like her dad can't afford the wedding anymore and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know about you, but like I'm the type that I don't think I'd ever let it get that way, because this is not the way I'm raised, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird that like Lillian didn't like speak up for herself or say that she couldn't afford these things. But that also could just be a part of like, because Helen is a very like domineering, controlling, like queen bee type of personality.
Yeah.
So it could have just been like really hard for her to speak up about that stuff.
True. And I will admit, I have a hard time speaking up over the years. And my wedding was definitely one of them, where it was like, if I had an issue, I would try and get Jay to deal with it. So I was like, I don't want to tell them that I don't want this. Can you do it, please? Like,
yeah, I remember there were like a few things that you were dealing with, and I get it. Like, especially it's hard having that conversation with someone that you're not super close with, and you don't want to disappoint them, or you just don't want to deal with like them telling you no when it's like, whoa, this is my wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's
you don't want to. I'm the type that I don't want to anger or upset other people, which I feel like is probably what Lillian is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Lillian was just like, she was a huge pushover, but she had no problem telling like Annie that you can't do anything anymore and it's just not a good idea and this is what would make me happy. So again, like she struggled to be honest with anyone in her life, but she was able to be honest with Annie.
Probably because they're just so close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird though that Doug didn't make like more of an appearance with all this situations and stuff going on.
No, does he even have any like words? Does he have any
I don't think
lines
he had a
at all?
line.
Neither did Helen's husband. But like they mention him a couple times and he's there in the background, but yeah.
Which I guess is like kind of funny coming from like a feminist point of view because a lot of the times like women in like movies about men don't even have like a space. So maybe that was like commentary from Paul Feig.
I know. I was thinking about that. I love this movie because there's only 3 dudes that have any lines in it at all, I'm pretty sure. The cop, Ben Falcone, the air marshal, and then
John Hamm.
John Hamm. Yeah.
Which John Hamm's a dick. And
Total
then
dick.
the Marshall guy is like
just there for comedy, really.
Yeah, and he's accepting of Megan for her weird self.
Yeah.
And
then the cop, who's like the sweetest guy ever. So
yeah, which we needed him because Kristen Wiig like needed a save.
Yeah.
And so speaking of Megan, she deserves like a special shout out because she didn't really talk to Annie a ton during this whole thing, but she saw the whole thing go down. And
Megan is who?
Melissa McCarthy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
The super like I want to have a fight club. I stole all the puppies. And she comes over and it's really funny that she like wrestles Annie and like starts slapping her. And it's like a really
fight for your shitty life.
Yeah. And it's such a really great metaphor because eventually Annie like hits her back and she's like, that's what I wanted. I knew there was some fight in you still, Annie. And I think that's really cool that Megan didn't super know her well and they didn't spend a ton of time together, but she still
considered her a friend.
Yeah, she considered her a friend. She got to know her as a person and she felt for her and wanted to be there for her.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so hard for people to be that vulnerable and to show up for them and want to help them. And I think it's really cool that she was there for her because Annie needed someone. She didn't have her best friend. Like she didn't have anyone except her crazy mom.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the whole movie shows Annie not fighting for her shitty life at all. She just like kind of accepts it, tolerates the dick that she's sleeping with, like tolerates not having a job. Like, do you ever see her like actually look for a job? No, she has like her diamond selling. What do you call it? Her like it was like engagement ring she was selling.
Yeah,
right?
she was like a jeweler.
Yeah, she has that job, which she gets fired from, and she didn't even try very hard at it. She straight up calls this one girl a really bad word, and then
she's
she like
13 and she calls her the C word.
Yeah, and then she like tries to discourage this couple from like getting an engagement ring because she's like, the love is not eternal, dude.
Yeah.
So she's not fighting for her shitty life. She's just letting it be. She doesn't want to bake anymore, which is like clearly her calling, you know?
Yeah.
She meets the cute cop, but then she like decides to just fuck it up anyways. So she's lucky that she has a friend like Megan to make her fight for it and realize that it sucks.
Yeah, I think it was really helpful that Megan showed up for her. And then I do appreciate that Helen realized that she has issues, but she means well. And she did apologize for everything that she did to Annie and acknowledges that she did it on purpose and that it's because her husband ignores her, which is really fucking sad.
Yeah. And I liked that she didn't need like prompting to apologize. It was like an automatic, like she knew she had fucked up.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't tell you how many times I've had friends where like I have to tell them that they've even done anything wrong because they can't pick up on the fact that there's an issue, or they're not ballsy enough to tell you, come to you and say, hey, I know there's an issue. I'm sorry. So
yeah, and I'm really big like on apologizing. Like obviously you don't fuck up a ton and then your apologies don't mean anything, but like we're humans and we're not perfect. And just own up for what you did.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I really love that Helen kind of turned herself around because then when Annie and Lillian were talking about it, Annie was really sweet and said, I know that Helen took over your wedding, but at least you know it'll be perfect, which was kind of like a nice compliment, and Annie kind of maturing about the situation. And then it looks like at the end, like they've all kind of become friends and they sort of just accept Helen for like, she needs to do these things to like make herself feel better and they know why.
Yeah, like right after the ceremony, Helen brings out Wilson Phillips to like sing Hold On, which is cute because it's Annie and Lillian's song, right? But Annie like turns to her and goes, what the fuck? Like this better be the last thing. She's like, it's the last thing, I swear. Yeah. And then afterwards though, after the ceremony, they're like all good and kosher and they like see each other after Lillian leaves and say like, hey, we can hang out, the three of us sometime. And so it all ends up well, honestly.
Yeah, and Helen kind of understands her place and that she needs to just calm down, and everyone still loves her and she has friends, which is good because she needs them.
Yeah, I hate, I shouldn't say I hate, but I don't like when, and I think it's really only girls that have this issue, but when somebody has more than one best friend, I hate when people are like, oh, you can only have one, what's your, your real best friend? I think you can have more than one best friend in different aspects of your life and not have to choose or make the others feel bad. And I don't think boys ever have this issue. So
No.
I remember in like elementary school having this kind of an issue. And it's like, why? Why can't you have more than one best friend? Why do you have to rank them?
Yeah, there was always a weird conversation in ranking. Yeah, because like it's hard because so with you, like you're my sister. Like you're like my lifeline. But one of my really good friends, shout out to Katie Wheaton. I've known her since kindergarten. And the thing I love about mine and Katie's friendship is that she's a busy mom and wife, and she also does teaching stuff. And then I'm out in LA, so sometimes it's just our lives are very busy in different ways. So we don't talk all the time. But dear God, if I have an issue, I text her and she always responds to me and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And so with our friendship, she is one of my best friends because I know that she'll be there for me in a heartbeat, and we don't have to talk all the time, and that doesn't change. And there was a point where when I moved out here, we hadn't talked in a while, and then I tried calling her and she was super busy, and it felt like she wasn't making time for me, and I was really bummed.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't take it personal because I realized we are still super busy. But then I think when she got pregnant with her second child, she told me right away, and I was like, I'm freaking crazy. I'm still one of her good friends, and friendships are all different in their own different ways. And I think, and that's the beautiful thing about friendships is that they're all unique. And so it doesn't really matter. Cause I have other people I think all my close friends are my best friends, which is because they're best to me in their own significant ways.
Yeah, and they're friends from different aspects of your life. I always say that I like quality over quantity when it comes to friends. I have not a lot of friends. I have, I only let a certain amount of people in my life because I just don't have the time to
It's exhausting.
Have a lot of friends. But the ones that I do have, I would consider best friends. And you know what's funny is when we were younger, because I've known Katie. She was at every single one of your birthday parties growing up, right? Yeah. When we were younger, I don't know about you, but I had my best friends at school. You had Katie and Whitney.
Whoever else. Yeah, Whitney was there for a little bit.
Yeah, and but we never. I don't know about you, but I never felt jealous. Right? It's something that happened when we got older.
Yeah, because you had.
Because we call each other up, hey, do you want to get together this Saturday and hang out? Play dates or whatever you want to call it. And we had no problem being no, sorry, I have plans with whoever.
Yeah,
I never got jealous about it. It was something that happened later on when you're oh, you have all these other friends and I'm not a part of your friendship anymore, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not part of your little group. But when we were younger, it didn't matter. I would just straight up be sorry, I have plans with Tiffany. Wasn't an issue.
And that's I think what helped was that I knew Tiffany was Katie.
Yeah.
It I had something to kind of understand it. And I think when I got older, I think the biggest issue was that I was in LA and I didn't have a ton of friends, and I was finally close to you again. I think that's why I had jealous tendencies because you saw these people all the time, and so I was just
well, it was lonely. I went off and I moved away and I got all these other friends.
Yeah,
and then
created a life.
And then you came down here and you're oh shit, you have all these other friends. But it's not just you. I'm saying when I got older, I would get jealous of friends. We had this little tight little group, and if one of us did not invite the rest of us, people would get jealous. And now I've grown out of that, thank God. But it's a thing. It's a thing that happens when girls get older. I think if you don't consciously realize it, it just happens, and you're suddenly jealous of their friends and that they hang out and you don't hang out with them or whatever. So
yeah,
because it was not a thing when we were younger.
And now when someone does invite you, you're yes, I can stay at home in my PJs and drink wine and do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, you want to go out, Jay? I want to stay in. Can we just stay in tonight? So,
David and I get really excited when that happens.
I know.
We're like, oh, we don't have to leave. Okay.
Yeah.
David's like, I'm going to go back to work.
Yeah. Jay's like, do you want to do something on Sunday? No, I want to stay home all day on Sunday.
Right? It's like, if you don't have to be social, it's like, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I would say that I had similar feelings as Annie, but I was still am in a good standing relationship, and I had a job. It just didn't pay super well, and I wasn't like a selfish asshole like Annie. I just felt for her financial situation and the inadequacies.
I think that's why it's such a great movie, though, is that I feel like most women probably go through that in a bridal party. I know I definitely felt that. And that's why it's so nice, because they probably have never, I don't think they've ever shown that in a movie before.
No, they
like
just
the
don't.
issues that happen between 5 girls or however many it is, and the different, it's these different people from different walks of life, different financial statuses, and trying to get them all together and like do shit together and be copacetic is hard. So.
Yeah, I think it's really good that Kristen Wiig and her writing partner expressed that, because there's just those sorts of things, like you said, they're not represented in movies. And I think it's good that they finally put something like that on screen and then added great humor to it.
Yeah, it was a really funny movie.
Especially the tennis fight.
Yeah, that was awesome. Seeing her get like hit in the boob multiple times by a tennis ball, and just like they're like cry out of pain in slow motion. That's pretty awesome.
So funny. And like Rose Byrne comes in with like her sweatband.
Yeah. And Annie's like, get it together, Carol.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't really think that you were like Lillian. Like, you were pretty straightforward with what you wanted.
No, yeah, I'd say all of these characters are definitely an exaggeration of like our own lives,
Yes.
Like yes, I was a bride, but I was not like Lillian at all in many aspects. Just like you weren't like Annie in a lot of aspects either, but it's just the representation and the roles that they played are similar to everybody really that's been in a bridal party,
Yeah, like you
or
said,
has been a bride.
I think they just expanded, like they took a couple different examples and then just kind of like blew it out of proportion for comedy reasons.
Yeah. I mean, that causes drama. That causes the conflict that you want in a movie. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think like the writers did a really good job on, making the humor, like you said, creating the drama and all that. So I actually wanted to try and like start doing this thing where like we rate the friends.
Oh,
like
okay.
Their friendship.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't know if we'd give them like a grade or like a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think?
Well, are we rating Annie and Lillian's friendship?
Yes.
1 to 10. So 10's the highest, 1's the lowest.
Yeah, like based on how they deal with their stuff. And
honestly, it's really hard because movies only show you like a little snippet of these characters' lives, right? And not even all of it. So I would give them like kind of in the mid range, like a 5 or a 6, honestly, because I feel like Lillian is so not aware of all of Annie's issues. Like I feel like she should have been more aware of the things that were coming up, and she was just like not even there. So
she was very much stuck in like that la la land that you say you hate when your girlfriends get when they have a boy in their life. Yeah,
where they just kind of like disappear. And oh gosh, who was I talking to? Somebody I was talking to recently. Maybe it was a teenager, because I deal with teenagers at my work, and they said that their friend got a boyfriend and she is never around anymore and isn't her friend anymore. And I told her, I was like, girl, I'm gonna be straight with you. That happens all the time. Like girls do that all the time. And I had mentioned you. I didn't say you by name, but I was like, I had a best friend growing up and I felt that way every time she got a boyfriend, to the point where I wouldn't even remember their names. I would just be like, fuck, she has a boyfriend. I'm not going to see her for a month or whatever. And I told her that's totally normal, but you should really tell your friend, because that was something I don't think I ever told any of my friends. And I told her, just make sure that when you have a boyfriend that you don't do that, like be conscientious of it.
Yep, ranging hormones, how your parents are raising you, and the love that you're not getting. I was actually just with some of my cousins, and they have all gone to like an all girls or an all boys school. And I actually feel like that might have been better for me though.
I don't know. I had all of my friends from junior high. When I went to high school, I went to like a public high school, and they all went on to the private high schools. And most of my friends went to an all-girls high school. And the shit they told me, man, I was like, oh my God, it's scary out there. Like they were still seeing dudes all the time. So I don't know that it would have been any better for you, honestly.
True. That's a good point. Sometimes when you take something away, the restriction makes it harder. Maybe my cousins have they've just been really good.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so they're about a 5 or a 6. They just need to get better at being open and being, like you said, aware of what's going on in each other's
Wait, how would you
lives.
rate it? You didn't say.
I think I would probably rate them like a little higher, like a 6 or a 7. Because even though like they do struggle to properly pay attention and like they bottle things up, I think eventually they come around and they're vulnerable and honest. Like it sucks that it takes the full come around, but at least they do come around and they talk about it versus some people just like give up.
That's true. I am a big fan of talking about it, but I will say that I've had a couple like newer friendships where we have had like blowouts, and I am so not used to that in a friendship, and I almost feel like it like when you can't deal with it without having a big blow up like that, that means that you just like are not as close of friends and you can't read each other as well and stuff like that. So
that's a good point.
So I don't know.
Like hopefully this was just like a once occurrence thing because of what was going on in their lives. Like I think that if you fight with a friend all the time, that's not a good sign, similar to a relationship. But if there are things that are happening in your life that are kind of causing things to happen, like Annie had low self-esteem because her business went under and her boyfriend left her, and then now her friend's getting married and she feels even more lonely. Like there were things, and then she had Helen's a whole other
fucking
thing,
Helen,
right? So I think that this was a thing that made things very tension building.
Yeah, and it is a movie. I mean, you know, if all of that shit had happened and then it was just like a simple talk, it wouldn't have been as exciting because it is a movie. It's supposed to be entertaining.
Yeah. So and they were really cute. Like they know how to like play off each other's like humor. Obviously that's still within the writing, but they still had to create like those friend moments, like when she was telling Annie that he told you to get dental work, and then Annie put like muffin on her teeth. She's like, my teeth look great. I think that's really cute. Friendship stuff. So yeah, I'd rate them probably like a 7. You gave them like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, I'd probably say like a 6.
That'd be my guess. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So just talk about your stuff, guys, but also like talk to other people if you're in a bridal party or the maid of honor and you feel like you have issues about stuff. Don't bring it to the bride. Talk to someone else about it. And then if you really need to talk to the bride, then you can talk about it.
Yeah.
That'd be my advice.
Just don't make it so dramatic, you know?
Yeah.
Like
It'll be over in like 6 months.
Girls are so dramatic. Just calm the fuck down and think about it a little bit more before you react.
I mean, you could just be like Megan's character and just punch it out because that's what boys do.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I actually really like Megan's character. She's very like, she's awesome.
She keeps it real.
Yeah.
Oh, right now we're going to end. Oh, the accent's gone. I can't close out the same way anymore, guys. It happens. That's the end of this episode. And we'll be back in another, I don't know, every other week. That's what we do now. So we'll be back soon. And enjoy those holidays.
Mm-hmm. Stay warm.
Drink lots of coffee. Warm coffee keeps you warm.
That's right. And red wine.
Oh, yes. Red wine. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Keeps your body warm. Your insides warm.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Thank you for listening to Best Friends Playbook Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
You can also email us episode suggestions at bestfriendsplaybook@gmail.com. And if you could please leave us a review on iTunes, it helps us greatly to grow our podcast.